Hello, everybody. It is time for this week's AMA with us, DeFi Kingdoms. Hello. Hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. And we are going to dive right in. So we do have a couple of updates that we wanted to run through real quick, and then we will move into some questions. So first up, I wanted to go over to Dreamer to talk about karate and karate combat.
Cool. Hi, everybody. Crap, sorry. I still have a very dry, annoying cough. But yeah, so our first promotional visage ended last week, and the folks at Karate Combat delivered the karate reward pretty quickly. I think there may be a few wallets that didn't see it, and Bolon and others are working on that. So thanks for sharing. But keep in mind, we have about a day and a few hours before voting ends. Recap of how this works. Karate Combat has a fight a few days before. The karate that you hold in their Hedera wallet through the Karate Combat app that you download for iOS or Android is then taken a snapshot of prior to vote opening. Vote stays open for a couple days, and then you vote. No karate leaves your wallet, no staking necessary, and no downside. So these are emissions of new karate that are predetermined, and then depending on how much people put up, and then the probability of winning or losing, or the win or loss odds, you get some karate. You don't lose any because it's not staked anywhere. It's not at risk. It's not betting. So we did our first promotion. 3 million karate was paid out, and I hope people are going to go and vote with it and try to earn more. There is another karate gi promotional visage out there. This one is black with a gold belt. This is meant for their champions. This is leading us up to the IFC fight a month from now, which I think is more public. It's out there 23rd of February, and hopefully I'm not getting in trouble by saying it is in Mexico City, which is going to be an interesting place for a fight, but I won't take time away from this AMA to talk more about it. If you bought a white gi, check to see if you had your karate, and if not, reach out. And if you have it, I suggest going and voting, having some fun, watching the fights, and yeah, that's the update on Karate Combat. Bolon, back to you.
Thank you. And yes, as Dreamer said, if you're having any troubles or anything, reach out to me. Let's see. Next
Oh, sorry.
up,
Could I say one more thing?
I'll allow it.
So what we're trying to do here is like create a few avenues for collaborations and working with others, even when it may not be like as obvious of a fit, or sometimes you talk to some games or protocols and wanted to do a collaboration in the past, and it's just been so hard to get things over the line. We're really excited about these promotional visages because there's a lot we can do. Karate Combat wouldn't have been a partner that would have been really easy to put them in the game without something like this. Before that, it could have just been like a classic token swap, an airdrop, or something there. And I think historically, a lot of people farm those airdrops, and then there's nothing really left to benefit from it. So we're trying to evolve that a little bit. If people have suggestions in the community, or other games you want to work with, or I think at one point when we get this more refined on how to allow others to like advertise to our player base that isn't forced or feeling like spammy or anything. This is really what that is. They put up money to get exposure to you guys, and that money goes to the community by way of a customized visage that everybody gets to keep, that is tradable and fun. So if people have feedback on this process, we'd love to hear it, but we're really trying to find unique ways to benefit all parties involved in a genuine and like fun way. But trying to improve on it as well. So has been one of our goals with the whole visage line, and I think it has been successful so far. We have other partners lined up, and excited to have more of these promotional visages come out over time.
For sure. All right, let's see. I believe Fox was going to give a quick update on duels.
Yep. Just noting that a lot of the smart contract work has been done. I'm shifting over to the front end side of it. There are some changes we're doing there off of the older seasons that are going to be different that I won't announce yet. But it's coming along. Hasn't yet entered testing, but I'm hoping to get that sometime next week. And then we'll go from there. Also, just a reminder that this next season is actually going to be sort of a, I'm sort of internally calling it a perpetual season. It's actually a bunch of seasons still that are split up, but basically instead of it being a whole new contract each time we do a new season, it will be the same contract that will support multiple seasons from that one contract. And this will be great because it means that in the future, in between seasons, we'll have much smaller downtime. In fact, it could theoretically just be like no downtime in between seasons, where one season ends and then the next season just immediately starts. And that will be a lot more enjoyable for, I think, those that like to play duels and maybe you hopped in halfway through one season and you weren't able to make the leaderboards, but like you can hop in into the next season right at the start. So it'll be a lot more engaging, and I'm excited about that prospect. Plus, it will be a lot less overhead from our side every time there's a new season for us to spend, like weeks and weeks having to build out all kinds of new things. And so being able to refocus that energy into other aspects is exciting for us as well. So, yep, thank you.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. We do have one other update, but we're going to save it until the end and bring up a special guest, the bloater himself, Sticks Intern, to talk about a Void Hunt tournament that Mythic Squad's going to be doing this weekend. That sounds like a lot of fun and also brutally difficult. So we'll hear more about that a little bit later. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take some questions. First up, what do we, as the team, think of having some sort of rotating daily quest? They do realize it would be, one more thing on the plate of things to do, but a way to encourage that daily interaction.
Yeah, I guess I'll take the start of this. We actually did kind of introduce a mechanic that's like that with the daily Void Hunt raffle. Every day there's a new raffle and a chance to win 1,000 crystal. And that's, you get an entry per win that you get on the Void Hunts. So that does kind of fulfill that. If we were to do like some other different quest, I mean, it would mean delaying other things that we're trying to work on to get that across the finish line. So I'm not sure that it would be wise to do something completely different than what we're doing. But I will also mention that we just added to the tracking sheet one little addition to the system for the new Void Hunt. That will allow us to kind of expand on the daily raffle system with promotional things. And I'll pass over to Dreamer to talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Hubert. So as we think about how to continue to grow DeFi Kingdoms as a brand and its utility to cross over with others in the space, I already mentioned through promotional visages the idea of creative advertising and collaboration. This is kind of another form of that. That's a lot less lift after the initial build is incorporated. Essentially, the idea is if we're having a daily raffle where we're already giving away X% or including in that raffle X% of fees related to hunts. In addition to that, we could have any third party sponsoring a raffle. So they could put up X amount of a prize, and that could, as you load up your hunt, they could just simply say this hunt is sponsored by ABC entity, person, project, and here's the token that is powering up the, that's probably a bad word since crossover of usage, but is powering up the hunt rewards, and it could just feed into the daily raffle. So as we do our job to continue to attract interest in DeFi Kingdoms from others and build our network, some folks will want to, put up some tokens or pay, buy some jewel and put it in a pool to pay out folks playing hunts and have a little this bonus is sponsored by ABC. We already have the first one loaded up actually and ready, but I think we'll hold on. Did we decide to say anything? I can't remember.
Details will come later.
Details will come later. But expect the first in the first phase, maybe not right at launch, but in the first phase for the new hunt. I'm being so careful with words, to include some kind of bonus in this daily raffle system. And over time, we'll see what else we can put in there. We can get really creative with it. But there are some difficulties with just DFK Chain and what we can give away. If there's another project and we're like, oh, cool, we would like to say, this hunt is sponsored by ABC Game. This is their token. They're going to airdrop it to you by way of the raffle. If it doesn't exist on DFK Chain, it makes it a little hard. So I think technologies over time will catch up there and allow for more things. But we got the first one locked in, and we're working to find some others that might want to sponsor to juice up those daily rewards and a reason to keep coming back and make it even more fun and for some more, rewarding.
Very nice. Yes. As Hubert mentioned, that is added as a line item on the checklist now, so y'all can continue to follow along there. And looking forward to seeing the first one come to fruition. Let's see. I'm going to read this whole question because I love it. It has been many moons since the King Bun Thumper usurped the throne in Sarandale. Since then, he's accomplished nothing but taking naps and filling the castle with small pellets of dung. I also suspect he's rigging the Raffle Master raffles based on that I have not won one since his revolution. Expel the Buns. Thoughts on the Buns and ruling Sarandale Castle?
All right. SBD opted out of this one. But yes, the Buns taking over and staying in control has been part of the plan. And it is possible that we might work into the storyline at some point, how you take it back. But as of right now, the Buns are too powerful. And to be honest, nobody was really on the throne to begin with. So, they just they didn't have much pushback when they took the throne in the first place.
I do love a good free
Team
throne.
Team Bun.
Was it a decentralized ruling structure or something?
Obviously.
Until the Bun got there. All right. Don't go too far, Beetle. I have a series of questions for you. But they aren't items for your list. They're actual questions, and I'm very happy about it. All right. So, the pace of class releases in game, is that dictated more so by the balancing of those classes, or are there other factors?
All right. Yeah, so if we're talking about actually implementing the classes, currently we're kind of building with this new Void Hunt a few features that haven't existed before in the combat system, which will directly contribute to future classes and should make it simpler to implement the codexes as we go. So I guess to answer that question in a simple way, we are just prioritizing hunts right now. And then I think immediately after this next hunt, we'll be doing some focusing on classes at that point. But yeah, I'll just say that the time system, the time bar, the delay event mechanics, which I don't know how much we've talked about those before, but I know it's listed in the sheet, so I can say it out loud. as well as some of the slow and haste that are more time-based and need better representation of and knowing what's going to happen and when. So really the whole system, we're just kind of building out the combat system, which will make it much simpler to build through the abilities that are coming in the future, which we have a couple of classes queued up to work on shortly after the hunt, but that might be saying too much. I'm probably saying too much, but I guess we're just taking it one step at a time. We're laying the groundwork for cool things going forward.
And as far as the implementation of a new class, more time is spent in terms of actually building it into the combat engine and building its abilities than balancing it, correct?
Yeah, I'd say for the most part. We do spend a good week or so balancing each class to make sure that it's functioning as we want, and we've, even though we've got the codexes, once we get into balancing, those change pretty quickly, and we really start to understand the meta that we're going with each class. At least that's the experience we've had so far, which is exciting. It's a fun time. But I would say that, yeah, probably building it out takes a little bit longer. Though that might change as we get all the systems in place. It might become fairly simple to add new classes over time.
Cool. Part 2 is how difficult is it to make changes post-release? So, for example, modifying the skill stats or the scale of them in an ability once that ability is out in the world. How what kind of size of effort would you put that at? And I have a couple other examples to run through.
Okay, are we using Fibonacci's numbers, shirt sizes? Just kidding. Only the nerds will get that.
Easy, medium, hard.
Beer sizes. Yeah, I'll say that. I mean, if it's a numbers change, that's fairly quick. If it's changing more about the ability, like how it works in general, that's a little bit longer. Maybe a medium. But yeah, I know right now I do have some things on our balance sheet to update with some of our currently implemented classes, as we are going to just continue tweaking and making sure that everyone's working and feeling really nice. So I'll just say that tweaking the abilities takes a lot less time than creating them in the first place, unless it's a full overhaul.
Well, completely redoing was on the list. So, what size effort would you put that at?
Large. I guess I put the other one at medium. So medium plus extra medium. Yeah, it depends. If it's mechanics we already have, then it's fairly straightforward. But if it's a new mechanic, then yeah.
Medium plus is also what I tell myself my shirt size is, since I had to move to larges.
Same.
To make myself feel better. How coupled are the training grounds and void hunts? Is it possible to release a new codex on the training grounds but not the void hunt?
I believe it would be possible. It's not something that we've done before, but I think that it is theoretically possible and doable. And it seems like something that might be a thing in the future, possibly if we want to go that route. But I know when we get classes going, everybody's itching to just get them out. So there's an argument on both sides, I think.
For sure. If something were to be identified that was just completely, massively, problematically broken, is it possible to disable heroes with a certain class or subclass temporarily from combat?
Another theoretical. Yes, it's theoretically possible. I don't think it would take too much work to do that if we need to, but I doubt with the amount of testing things that we're putting into each of it and balance testing that would happen without us knowing.
Never underestimate the
True.
degen.
Fair.
And then as far as releasing subclasses, what size dev effort would you put on that as far as the implementation goes?
Whoops, I missed the first part of that. Sorry.
Subclasses.
Subclasses would be pretty huge of an effort, since it's not something that exists currently. We'd have to accommodate a lot of new things that we don't have. I think the biggest one of which would be weapon swapping. And then, yeah, just the paradigm of having multiple classes abilities available. So not a small amount of effort, but something that needs to happen at some point. And maybe Hubert can hop in if I miss anything, but
no, I think you covered it, but yeah, I think the weapon swapping is kind of the big one there. And I did mention previously, like, if we're getting Monk out because it has the disarm mechanic, that's one of the prerequisites. So you'll be seeing subclasses functionality and weapon swapping before you see Monk, at least. I think also we had one more that had disarm, maybe Legionnaire. But yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Hubert.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen, and appreciate you, Beetle. That's the end of that current series of questions.
Woo, and nothing to the list
Uh,
except something from chat. Dang it.
Yep, nope, still got your list. Don't worry. Let's see. Any kind of updates on expeditions? Magnus, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure thing. First off, Expeditions is in progress. It's a really large undertaking, but chipping away at it. The design document alone, it takes about 71 minutes to read, so it's pretty slow going to actually turn that design spec into contract code. We do plan to split the release into multiple chunks so we can ship parts of the code when it's ready instead of waiting for the entire feature to be done. The first chunk of the release, it's going to be a contract-only change that will bundle up several of the foundational transaction batching and gas optimization changes and apply those to the existing Quest v3 contract, so you can get the just normal Quest and get the benefits, as well as kind of setting the stage for Expeditions release. I'm splitting hairs in the Quest contracts to make this be as efficient as possible, and even going down to just like a few bits, making sure we're not having those go to waste, because Expeditions is going to be doing a ton of loops over those heroes and processing the chunks. So yeah, each bit is really important. We've learned quite a bit over the last couple of years on how to use contract storage and caching, and how that influences gas. So we're applying all of those lessons learned here. And we don't have numbers on exactly how much that will impact each questing transaction, but stay tuned there. And then of course, after the gas optimization release, we'll be really targeting the Expeditions core features. That's it for me.
Yeah, I'll add real quick. Hubert had shared in Discord a few days ago, a week ago, I don't know, time doesn't exist, a little screenshot just of the very top that showed that the design document for Expeditions is a 71-minute read. It is a very large task. We're doing a lot of things with it, and it's a very big document with a lot of pieces to be built. Hubert, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. If not, that's fine. But if you do, feel free.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of things were added, and that's just our design document. We also have what we call our FSD, or formal specification documentation, or something like that. I always forget the acronym, but yeah, that is a secondary piece of that tries to take what's in the design document and convert that into requirements as well. And that's something that I've kind of enslaved Dr. Zipper to finish up, and it's taking him quite a bit, because even converting all of that text and all of the different things that are in there into like a series of requirements is a big chunk of work too, and really appreciate Zipper for working on that. And you know, I guess it's, while that's not all the way complete, it's not really stopping Magnus from working on what he's working on right now either. So not really a hold up at the moment.
Cool. Let's see. So on the checklist for the new Void Hunt and BYOP, it looks like the next hunt was in testing prior to the bonus mystery mechanics. They are also in testing. Are those mechanics something that falls outside of the hunt?
So to clarify from the spreadsheet, everything on that particular one is based on the hunt itself. So those are bonus mystery mechanics that are in the hunt, in the combat hunt itself. They might be, they're things that will probably end up in other places as well, other than this particular hunt, and maybe class related abilities and things. But right now they are specific to that hunt. Was there another question?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Cool. Yes, that is all.
Thank you, Beetle Dude. All right. Thoughts on having a governance vote to propose moving the gardens away from blue chip and incentivizing in-game items instead? I mean, I'll just start off with a reminder of that's the blue chips are how people get into the game. So you know, having an ETH jewel pool allows people to bridge from Ethereum to DFK Chain and trade ETH for jewel. So those pools are pretty important in terms of accessibility for people who already have crypto to be able to get in. But outside of that, Hubert, Dreamer, anybody else want to add to that? Have thoughts?
I unmuted
Fox?
first. um, so I have less of an opinion about whether or not we should do the gardens. Well, I mean, I do have an opinion, but and it's essentially the same as yours, I think. But I also just wanted to talk about like doing voting and governance in general, because I am a huge fan of that. And I've actually been kind of working a little bit on the side on a interface for the voting inside of our game. So currently we hold our votes on snapshot.org. They have a really cool API that makes it so that you could essentially create your own interface for stuff like votes. So what precipitated me wanting to do something like that was actually Halliday, because right now playing the game with Halliday is really, really nice. You can do like transactions without having to always have the thing in your face saying sign this, approve this, approve this. So it's really cool. But the downside sometimes is that it basically just works in our interface, and third-party sites might not support it. And that's not just because of a lack of support, but it's also on a very technical level. They are smart contract accounts. They don't have private keys in the same way that something like MetaMask does. So it's hard for things like that to support it. But there's actually a EIP that was released a while back. It's been years now, but EIP 1271 outlines a way for smart contract accounts to be able to still sign messages. So spoke with Halliday last week on that. They're excited about implementing a solution for that so that we could support doing votes from Halliday. So they're hard at work on that. I'm excited about that as well. But once that is ready and we have the interface for the voting in our game, it's going to be a lot easier to do regular votes for all kinds of things, and having it be just like a really easy thing where you log into the game, you'll probably get like a icon or something saying, hey, there's a new vote. And then you hit that, it opens up a window in the game, and you read the proposal, cast your vote, and are done. So it should be a much better way to engage the community and make sure we have active ongoing proposals and all kinds of things there. So just wanted to plug that. There you go.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be really cool. Dreamer, I had seen you unmute.
I didn't unmute and then I started multitasking, but I think I was just gonna follow up on your response on the DEX. I think the initial question to recap was, would we ever consider like adjusting what's in the gardens, maybe even removing some blue chips? Are we still on that topic?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I think you covered it well. There's a couple things on like the speculation side. So the way AMMs work, as most, if not all of us know, with the coming potential bull market at one point in the future, in the next 1 to 50 years, who knows? If we were to remove all connection to non-DFK assets, I think the comment you said was serves as a good on-ramp into DFK. That's exactly true. We do have like centralized exchange listing and listings that we're working on in progress. We have fiat on ramps and we have other ways to get in the game. But the DEX linked to blue chips is probably the best way for future blue chip holders to get into DeFi Kingdoms. It also does provide exposure to market moves, double-edged sword. That means downward moves in the market bring down the prices that are of the tokens linked to it, all is equal, and upward moves lift it up. So a lot to consider there, and the DEX is something that we try not to mess too much with adding a lot of tokens. If we ever were to add tokens or remove anything like very significantly, we may even consider more of the voting route. So good question. If we were to remove everything and it just be DFK, it might feel like almost safer, and maybe the incentives are going to holding DFK assets, which is good, but it could have a downward effect for new people coming in and feeling like it's a little bit harder to get in. So one could argue that do you need Bitcoin and Ethereum and XYZ? I think we'll see over time. But for now, we're trying to promote stability in these type of things, especially in a kind of pretty volatile transition from bear to bull potentially. So likely no plan to outright remove anything currently. But hopefully that's an adequate response to the question and why we have them in there in the first place.
Thank you, Dreamer. All right. Moving to the next question. I don't feel like I've made Hubert talk enough today. So, this one's for you. Thoughts on why is there a 24-hour cooldown on visages if they are cosmetic only?
I feel like this question has come up in the past, but yeah, just kind of talk on it a little bit more. At the moment, visages and equipment are essentially using the same contracts, so we didn't add any special handling for unequipping and that timer for visages when we implemented that. Like in general, the philosophy is on any equipment that we don't want people to be able to like use their best equipment on one group of heroes, unequip them, put them on their next group of heroes, and just use the same set of equipment over and over and over again. It's not really the approach we want, where we have all these different heroes that should be equipped in different things. So that's kind of just the general philosophy of why we have that timer to begin with. With visages themselves, I think there could be arguments made to have that timer be different. I don't know that I agree with removing it entirely, but I might be open to having there be a reduced timer for visages. So that could be something we'll talk about in coming meetings, see if there's any desire to change that.
But it sounds like we would also need to build it out to be able to change it. Is that correct?
It would be a small upgrade to the equipment contract, but I don't think it'd be that much code to do it.
Gotcha. Cool. Got another one for you. Any specifics on how BYOP will work for unused potions during a hunt?
Yeah, sure. You get them back.
Perfect. With that said, though, I mean, do you want to, I guess, talk a little bit about how BYOP works, or not yet?
Yeah, no, I sure I can. So yeah, with the way that works, we have, and it's kind of far back in the past, but you can also look to Workhorse's blog post that he did on Thief, which talks about battle budget and battle inventory. We're essentially implementing that. So if anyone can find the link and share it, I think that might be helpful as well, just for extra context. But essentially, with your battle inventory at the beginning of, like, before, as you're like selecting your heroes and skills, there would also be a step to select the potions that you want to bring, and you'll have a certain amount of weight in potions that you're allowed to bring, and that'll be more than the weight that you're allowed to use in the fight. So that's where we have kind of a difference between a term battle budget and battle inventory. So your battle inventory might be like 15 stone, and we're using the term stone for weight instead of pounds or kilograms or whatever. And in the battle, you may only be able to use 9, for example, as your battle budget. So you can bring more potions than you're able to use. So you can kind of strategize which potions do I think would be best for this fight. And then it'll submit those to the contract, and they'll be escrowed as you do that. Then in the fight, you'll have access to the potions up to your battle budget limit in weight. And any that you use when the battle is done would be burned. I'll just note that with retries, we aren't going to be burning potions that you used in the previous try. So I guess you would have the option, like if you have a bad run and you end up using all your potions and you feel like you could do better, you would have the option to retry. And if you do better, you could lose fewer potions in the process. But that won't always be the case per se for other combat content that we do. We may not always have retries available. So in those cases, it would just, once the sequence is done, whatever was used would be burned. And we do also have a power-up plan that I won't go into too much details, that also kind of impacts that system a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of the general approach. You bring in an excess of inventory. That's what you have access to in the battle, but you can't use all of it. And anything you use will be burned and not given back when it's done, and everything that wasn't used would be given back.
Awesome. Thank you much. And there is a couple of links to the Workhorse blog post in the DFK Discord, the AMA voiceless chat. So you can find it there, or if you Google search Workhorse Substack Thief, it will be the first Google result as well. Real quick, because it came in from chat, is battle budget the same for everyone, or is it based on your hero team?
Sorry, was that a me question? I was distracted by chat.
It's the one you were answering in chat.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'll answer it out loud. Yeah, in general, it's going to be dictated by the content you're doing. For example, the battle inventory that you're going to have available for the new hunt versus the boar hunt is going to be different. And then, we do have plans for other types of combat. Future, there will be things like dungeons and whatnot, where the battle inventory may be much larger, and what's available, like in a per fight basis, might be limited, but you'll have like a larger big inventory to kind of use throughout the entire sequence of a series of fights. So there's also kind of an endurance element of, if you use too many potions too early, it's going to make the end of it all a little bit more difficult. And similarly for things like when we get to PvP and we have like tournaments and whatnot, we would also kind of plan on having everyone have a battle inventory that they have to, that's all they have access to for the entire tournament. So there'll kind of be some resource management aspects of strategy as well with that. So.
Awesome. Super looking forward to that. As a reminder for anybody who has not been following along, the tracking sheet does also include BYOP. So that is the next Void Hunt and BYOP in that tracking sheet. Let's see. Any plans in the future to have hero appendages or other appearances play into combat in any way?
I keep getting distracted by the chat. Was that another me question? It sounds like it was.
It was, yeah. Any plans in the future to have hero appendages or other appearance genes have any impact in combat?
Nothing at the moment. I mean, it's always possible that way down the road we think of something that would make sense. But within combat, the combat system is more dictated by stats and like their combat genes. So I think if we just added a whole nother layer on top of what's already there, it's just increasing complexity probably unnecessarily. But there may be things outside of combat where that would make more sense to do.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Let's see. So, I guess, does wisdom factor into magic defense, or any other clarification on how magic defense will work?
No, it's really funny. I was reading Fox saying that I should be banned from Discord as you were saying that. I think I heard the question, which was, does wisdom do like how does it play into magic defense? Is that right?
Yeah.
I really should stop looking at it, but there's a whole bunch of people tagging me and asking me questions.
I know.
Yeah, if that was the question, I mean, wisdom is the core stat for magic defense. So there's a sheet that is shared in our Discord that you can look at that is pinned that I posted. I think it's in the combat. Let's see, I think we renamed it. It's in the Void Hunt discussion channel. If you look at the pin post there, within there you can kind of see the formulas of how defense works, and it with magic defense it uses your wisdom stat plus the scaling factor of the armor that is equipped. So in general, light armor will have a higher scaling factor off of wisdom and a higher base like magic defense score. And it's just kind of a combination of the two will set what your magic defense is. Yeah, I guess that kind of is the general approach. So that is, if you want more magic defense, wisdom is the stat to use. If you want more physical defense, endurance is the stat to increase. That's kind of just the general. Those two stats are the defense stats for the two different types of damage.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. We're going to try to fit a couple more in, and then we'll bring Sticks Intern up to talk about the tournament this weekend that Mythic Squad is doing. In the upcoming hunt, we will have BYOP. Is it possible to charge a reduced entry fee for teams that bring their own weapons as well? Sorry, Hubert, this one is also for you.
Yeah, I think for now, as far as like the bringing your own weapons and whatnot, yeah, that would probably complicate things a bit if we did do something like that. Though I guess I can see the logic behind it. I'd say that with our introduction of BYOP, we do plan to make some adjustments to the entry fee to kind of compensate for that. And we also have plans to make future adjustments as well once we have other things in place, like durability and repairing. Once those things are in place and we have other equipment that's available in game to get, like the gear you're borrowing right now from the guild, I think that would be the other time we would make a big adjustment at that point. But if we did something in between, it would kind of be a distraction and slow us down. So I think it's probably not worth doing. But I understand the idea behind, or the logic behind that question.
Makes sense to me. Let's see here. Sorry, there was some conversation in our AMA questions channel, and I was trying to figure out what was the question, what wasn't. Here we go. So I think this one, I mean, maybe Hubert Fox, but also Dreamer and Beetle and literally anybody else who has thoughts on it. So this one's to everybody, the whole group. Thoughts on having crossover events with other NFT collections, and the like potential possibility of having unique challenges or hunts or PvE experiences in general that are like themed around like that NFT collection and potentially could even only be accessible if you have that NFT in your wallet. So I guess general thoughts on that as an entire concept.
Yeah, I've been talking about this since like the start of DFK, I feel like. But I think that would be really cool. And it's a great way to do cross app collaborations. It's one of those things though that just by design is kind of limited to things on the same chain. But there's really cool things you can do with like oracles and like layer 0 and others that are cross-chain protocols to sort of integrate things. And we've built out sort of like a Swiss Army knife of skill sets here on our team, so that when we think about things like this, like, hey, it would be cool if we could do this, we have a lot of good ideas on the best way to approach those things. So what in the past we might have just thrown our hands up and been like, yeah, that's impossible, is now is like, yeah, there's ways to do that. So this is definitely a two-pronged thing. There's the technical side of it, which is doable. And there's also the like the biz dev side of it. Like trying to find a good mutually beneficial partnership that can work, and some kind of like crossover events like you see in other games. Stuff like that are always really fun, and I love them. So I know we've talked with a lot of projects about doing things like this, and some of them actually recently that we spoke about or spoke with at some events in the past have now built out some systems to support things like that and are trying to see if we want to do it. So we'll see what happens. But I am excited about this prospect. I think it's one of the main benefits of blockchain gaming is the ability to trustlessly and seamlessly see like your whole profile. Like this player plays all these other games or has like NFTs from this other thing, and so we can do something with that here. It's very Ready Player One, which I love.
Yeah, I can add to that. I think the long-term vision of interoperability and having it be less clunky and like less manual is really exciting. I don't think we're immediately there, even just simply where your NFT lives and how you get that data from one chain to the other, or one subnet to the other, is something that is, I think, constantly progressing. Avalanche has some pretty exciting things coming out this year that could help with like messaging within their ecosystem that could make this a lot easier than it is today. But yeah, I think the future of, I don't know, you look at cosmetics, we're already kind of solving that avenue of crossover. You look at the combat system being used for something like hunts. There could be promotional hunts as well, maybe one day. Not planning on it, not working on it, but just like some kind of crossover with something else, or maybe an enemy from another game appears. But all these things really will have the highest ROI when like the core game exists and has our main classes and main features and everything out, and then we start having that overlap when infrastructure supports it, so that it's not more of a headache. But I do think it's a very exciting potential within this space that kind of sets Web3 gaming apart from traditional gaming as well. It's a lot harder, I think, to do that there.
Yep, I'll add a couple more thoughts. Actually, I see you're still talking, but I can't hear you anymore. Okay, maybe not. Sorry if I talked over you, but I am known for having mic issues on Twitter. So we've actually done things like this in the past. For those that are more like OG, on Harmony, we did a feature where you could use your Bored Ape Yacht Club if you had one as your profile picture, and that actually directly led into the ability to use any NFT image as your profile picture. I don't think a lot of people took advantage of it because it was kind of an obscure feature at the time. But it was more of a proof of concept to see, hey, like these are ways that we could integrate other NFTs into our game. And we've had other games integrate our NFTs into theirs as well. We've had shoot, I can't remember the name of it right now, but there's the one like the Smash Brothers type one. There's the other one where they had heroes, and I'm like the worst person with remembering things, so I apologize to anyone out there. But there's been others that have said, hey, like we really like DFK things. We think you have a great community. We want to integrate your assets into our game, and that's just a really cool marketing move because it. A lot of other projects out there see our community and say, hey, like this is an amazing community that's active. How can we like bring them into our area or like have them come over and check out our game? And that's really the point of like crossover events. So yep, that's all I'll say.
Awesome. Any other thoughts on that topic before we move it over to Sticks Intern? All right. Sticks Intern, tell us about this tournament.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about this tournament here on the AMA. Yes, so Mythic Squad, we are bringing the PvP to PvE with the first ever Void Hunt tournament. And the way we've done that is we've designed a contest where the competitors must complete 6 rounds of the boar hunts, and each round has a unique affix. So if you've played Halo 2 or Diablo, you might be familiar with this concept of affixes. And what they are is a modifier that increases the difficulty of the boar hunt by adding like an external requirement. And so the 6 rounds, as they go through it, the first round, there's no affix, right? Just beat it by whatever means necessary. It's called devoid. The second round is the Genesis affix. You have to beat it using 1 priest, 1 archer, and 1 knight. All of the hero codexes that were available at the Genesis of PvE in DeFi Kingdoms. For the third round, you have to complete the boar hunts using 1 hero that does not have a codex in the game. That affix is called impotent. The fourth round is mortal, which means you can't use a priest, no healers allowed. Fifth round, and this is where it starts getting very hard. They're designed to be progressively more difficult, right? To kind of weed out the competitors as we get to the end and have one person standing alone at the top. So the 5th and 6th rounds are very difficult. The 5th round is parched, and you can only use 1 potion during the round. So if you use 2, it doesn't matter if you win, you lost because you didn't beat the affix. And then the final round, this one's really meant to test your endurance as a player and the strength of your heroes, your ability to take a hit on the face and keep going. And that is the brutish affix. And for that round, players must force a rampage, must make Mama Boar cast rampage, and then must beat the affix with all 3 of their heroes surviving. And this tournament is happening Saturday. We have over 20 people currently signed up. And just for anyone who's not in the American time zones where you can't participate, we are being flexible with the times. I have people who are starting late. I have people who are starting like towards the end of the scheduled time, and I'll run the tournament later for them. But the way it's going to work is we have tentative time slots for each round. So round 1 starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then every hour after that is when the next round is scheduled to start. Now, given that we've had some extra signups, I don't think we're going to keep it rigid to that 1 hour. But the way it's going to work is you're going to hop into Mythic Mayhem, which is the voice channel in the Mythic Squad Discord. And when you get there, you send your round 1 team. You shoot me a DM with your round 1 team and your hunt ID, and then you stream your game live into the Discord channel, but deafen yourself so you can't hear us and we can't hear you. So we can live commentate your game, cast it by watching you play in Discord, but you don't have to hear the commentary or anything because you're deafened. So that's how we're working around that whole live gameplay element, and I'm really excited about it. We have a lot of people here in the AMA who are signed up for the tournament. Shout out to Karaket, Starbuck, Dags, Megalodon, and many others who are in here. And everyone is welcome to participate. And I've pinned here in the Jumbotron at the top a link to a tweet where you can sign up. Signups are open till midnight Pacific on Friday the 26th. So you have a day and a half basically from here to sign up. Go get into that Google Docs, and I will release a final updated schedule Saturday morning with everyone who has signed up. The winner of the Mythic Squad Void Hunt tournament gets half of the accumulated entry fees. So everyone has to pay a 10 jewel, very modest entry fee to join. And the champion gets half of the total amount of entry fees and also their pick of one of the items that are in the Mythic Squad treasure chest set up for this tournament. And yeah, there's an FAQ on the Mythic Squad Medium that kind of has what is in the treasure chest. When I posted that article, it was 5 mythic heroes, a mythic pet, 3 legendary heroes. So the champion will get to pick whatever they want out of that. And also, all of those heroes are going to come equipped with a dueling ring because of a donation from one of our Mythic Squad members. And other people have also added voluntarily. So shout out to Franz, Chettles, and I think someone else even this morning, Sir Worm. We're all donating to the prize pool. So we will also be giving away off of a spin wheel items from the treasure chest to people who participate, and you will get a point um, corresponding to the rounds you beat. So it's you get 1 name on the wheel for beating round 1, then 2 more for beating round 2, 3 more for beating round 3, and so on. And so everyone who participates, the further you get in the tournament, the more chances you have to win something, even if you are not the champion. So please, I encourage everyone to sign up. We have a lot of people signed up. It's going to be a really fun all-day event. And if we do have multiple people alive at the end who beat all 6 rounds, well, we have special secret tiebreaker affixes that are designed to really select one winner at the end. And the person who has the least deaths in the first 6 rounds will get to pick from a list of 3 what that tiebreaker affix is. And then all of the other people who had more deaths in descending order of deaths will have to beat it. And if you lose, you're out. So the ideal situation is you pick that, you have the least deaths, you pick that impossible affix, no one else beats it, you never even have to try it because once it gets to you, there's no one else to beat. But if one person does beat it, the thing you thought was the most impossible, well, then you have to do it to stay in the game. So yeah, that's the rundown of the tournament. Strongly encourage everyone to come in here. I think, shout out to Skiller. This is kind of an idea incubated from the Mythic Squad town halls to do this affixes style tournament to kind of bring the PvP to the PvE, and we're really excited to be doing it. Thank you all for letting me talk about it up here for a moment.
So, couple quick questions.
Yep.
People can still sign up.
Signups are open till midnight tomorrow night Pacific time. So yes, so you got 36 hours from now to sign up.
Beautiful. And no retries, right?
There is no retries, and you can't use the same heroes twice. So you have to have at least 18 heroes to do the tournament, right? Because you need 6 teams, and then 21 possibly if you make it to the tiebreaker, and there is a tiebreaker.
Very nice. Shout out, we just coerced Winston into registering. So Winston Jazz Hands will now be in the tournament as well. But yeah, no, I'm super excited for it. I think it's an awesome idea. Major shout out to yourself and the rest of Mythic Squad for putting this together. I think it's going to be super fun. I don't see how anybody makes it through all 6, but y'all keep telling me people can, so I'll take your word for it.
Watch my stream from last night, Bolon.
I don't understand. I believe you, but I do not comprehend. But no, I think it's really, really cool. I'm super excited to watch as much of it as I can. I do have an obligation midday Saturday that I have to take care of, but I'm going to try to hop in before and after that and just watch and hang out with everybody. And that's the other side. If you do not want to register necessarily, if you don't have enough teams, if you just don't have time, whatever the case may be, you can still go in and watch. So spectator sport, come check it out. I'm really, really, really excited for this. I think it's awesome. Thank you for coming up and talking about it and filling everybody in as well. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to hear that you all are excited. And of course, open invitation to anyone on the DFK team to come up and join us while we're streaming and offer your opinion for any portion of it. right? You can jump in and be part of the live action fun. We would welcome that wholly. And I couldn't think of anyone I want to, compete against more than Winston. Really excited to have a couple members of the team actually in the tournament. I know we also have Christian Peter. So that's exciting. Really appreciate that validation, guys. Thank you.
Love it. Any final comments from anybody, and then we'll let Sticks Intern do our bullish this week.
I just wanted to add to the gratitude. Thank you, Sticks Intern and Mythic Squad and everybody for putting this together. I think it's really cool. As we have limited features, but a lot of excitement, taking what we have and doing as much as we can with it is kind of the name of the game. And this sounds really fun. So I just, a lot of work went into that. And I hope that people share the love. And even if you're not going to participate and you're not going to sign up, I think it'd be great to tune in and support, to share and get the word out there for others that may be interested or have the time. And for those that are participating, send them love, send them good thoughts, because I'm with Bolon. That seems really, really hard. But I'm not surprised that there's already people that look at this and they're like, light work, easy peasy.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it too. Thanks, SI, for putting this together, and you and the Mythic Squad. And I'm hoping that other guilds and creators and community members will also too look at doing tournaments. I think this is going to be fun. I'm glad Winston's going to be there, and between him and I will represent the team to the best of our ability. But I think I'll probably end up getting my butt kicked by these boars at some point on one of these affixes. Also too, guys, karate tomorrow night, so this is going to be a weekend of fun. Go out there and get your karate tokens and vote on all of the different fighters. I just did that during the AMA and got all my votes cast for that, so that'll be fun. You can always win some more karate tokens, and then DFK tournament all day Saturday. It's going to be a great one.
I'll just add thoughts too real quick. This is so cool. If anyone beats all 6, like, that is crazy. I don't know. I'll send whoever beats all 6, like, I don't know, 500 jewel. So I'm just throwing that out there. If anyone beats all 6, I'll send you guys some jewel.
Frisky just tripled the prize pool, everyone. So sign up now. Sign up now. I will ensure all of that goes to the champion. Frisky, let's coordinate. That's awesome. Thank you.
Frisky throwing down. Awesome. Last call for any comments. All right, Sticks Intern, I know you've done it before, but give us a good bullish to wrap this up.
Yeah, well, thank you all once again for having Mythic Squad up here to talk about this tournament, and thank you all once again for doing these weekly AMAs, sharing all the information about what you're building, taking feedback from the community. Gosh, you guys make me so bullish!
Bullish! Bullish!
Bullish!
See y'all next week.
It's out. Godspeed, everybody.
Actually, we'll see y'all Saturday.